off.
A pimp, not a simp.
Recliner, relax, it's gonna be.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
My bitch a choosing lover, never fuck without a rubber. Never in the sheets like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch hoes get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the fuck for $40 in the club. Fucking up the game, bitch, it gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling business off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some hoes wanna choose, but them bitches too scary. Your bitch chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a fairy.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Artie's Corporate Fiction. It's your boy Artie, and I'm here with OPT Lawyer. And I'm here with OPT Lawyer.
Everybody.
There you go. There we go.
That's
weird. And we are going, as promised, ever since I saw that first Jim Can't Swim video, people have been coming out asking me to watch these other ones, and I'm interested as well. So we're, by viewer recommendation, we're taking a look at the interrogation of Stephanie Lazarus. A link to the Jim Can't Swim is in the description, as well as the video. And one second, I think somebody's saying something here. There we go. All right, I apologize. Yeah. I had to fix that with my audio. People were saying that you could only hear me on the left side. Okay, now we're good.
There you go.
And so, yeah, we're gonna take a look at that. I understand. Like I said, I'm going in completely blind. OPT, you said you've never heard this case. I've only watched. No. Yeah, I've only watched up to the maybe the first minute of the introduction, which is going to set the screen for everything.
I watched the introduction just for some context, but I did not watch any of the interview. So
right. So without further delay, let's get this started.
On the evening of February 24th, 1986, 29-year-old nurse Sherry Rasmussen was found by her husband lying dead on the living room floor. Her face was severely beaten and disfigured to the point that she was unrecognizable, and the injuries were consistent with being hit with a muzzle and butt plate of a gun. She also had 3 gunshot wounds to the chest that were disclosed as the official cause of death, with the medical examiner asserting that any one of the 3 bullets could have killed her. Perhaps the most disturbing discovery during the autopsy was that most of Sherry's injuries were inflicted upon her after she was killed, which was concluded due to the lack of hemorrhaging and inflammation of the injuries. This included most of the victim's facial injuries and even a bite mark on her left forearm. Even after Sherry had taken her last breath, the assailant was still inflicting an inconceivable amount of damage to her body. She was buried in a closed casket 7 days later. The homicide detectives assigned to the case immediately associated Sherry's murder with multiple break-ins that had occurred that same night on the same street. Another woman had even been assaulted and was able to give a description of 2 assailants, and this description became the sole focus of the investigation into Sherry's murder. The prime suspects were now 2 middle-aged Latino males of medium height and build. They were never found, and the case went unsolved for 23 years. By 2009, crime in Los Angeles had declined enough from its earlier levels that detectives began looking into cold cases to increase their clearance rates, which is when the Rasmussen files resurfaced. It stood out from the rest as new methods of genetic analysis discovered that the DNA found at the crime scene pointed to a single female suspect. The 2 previous male suspects were then invalidated, along with the original theory of a burglary gone wrong. The investigation investigation into Sherry Rasmussen's murder was then reopened, and the newly appointed criminal investigators started from scratch. It was soon discovered that a statement given by Sherry's father, of whom he thought to be the prime suspect, was quickly brushed to one side, as the person in question was a serving LAPD cop from the exact department who were investigating the case. The person in question was a woman by the name of Stephanie Lazarus. She was a 25-year-old police officer at the time who had been with the force for 2 years. She had dated Sherry's husband, John Rutten, in an on and off relationship throughout college and for a short time after. It was even discovered that John had slept with Lazarus after he became engaged, and the two even dated for a while after Sherry's murder. She was now a 25-year veteran of the police force and had worked her way up to a senior detective of the Commercial Crimes Division. She was essentially in charge of all art-related investigations in the city of Los Angeles. The investigators went with a gut feeling and decided to make Lazarus the prime suspect, with the collection of her DNA being the very first task. Attaining it through a warrant would have let Lazarus know she was under investigation, so it had to be discreetly collected instead. Within 24 hours of becoming the prime suspect, a coffee cup she discarded while off duty was received by police. A DNA sample was then taken, and it came up as an exact match to the DNA found on Sherry Rasmussen's bite mark. There's a stigma around police interrogation tactics being secretive, and how knowing this information can somehow help the guilty in deceiving their way to freedom. Yet these tactics have been public knowledge since their inception in the 1940s, and the following interrogation is a legitimate testimony into how watching an interrogation is a world apart from being subjected to one. You can know every technique in the book and each specific strategy and subtle scenario that goes along with it, but ultimately, you have no idea how you're going to react to a specific situation until you're actually in it. With that being said, knowing these
What's that?
I said,
Yeah.
tactics can still give an individual some form of advantage with regards to awareness. The investigators knew that their initial confrontation with Lazarus could in no way resemble a traditional interrogation, nor be officially classified as one, and there were two reasons for this. The first was that Stephanie would be wise to the fact that her best option would be to request legal counsel right away and end the procedure immediately.
Kinda.
The second was that Stephanie was not about to be read her Miranda rights before being asked questions related to the investigation. A defense team could easily make anything she divulges inadmissible in court. Yet this was classed as a simple discussion between two parties, and the footage that was captured on a hidden camera was able to be submitted as evidence under surveillance footage rather than interrogation footage. The detectives created a
Nice.
yeah, they got around so many things. Like, legitimately, they got around so many issues they knew was going to happen. It's incredible they were able to set this up straight up. Like, I applaud them for that. You know, it's not custodial interrogation, so you don't have to read them in the Miranda rights.
Yep.
The footage is surveillance footage, not interrogation footage. So
it could get around. It gets
a ruse.
So it gets around the fact that she wasn't Mirandized.
Yep, exactly.
Clever girl.
Yeah, indeed.
Inviting Stephanie to come in and advise them on a case involving stolen art. Knowing they were dealing with one of their own, they rehearsed and prepared for the interview more than anything they had done before. Their plan of attack was to keep the conversation as casual as possible for as long as possible, and carefully waited for the key moments to initiate the confrontation.
Stephanie, I don't know if you know my partner.
Hey,
great.
Hi.
Stuart, nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
see you guys.
Hey, here we go.
How's it going?
Good.
Milling around. Well, have a seat. I don't want to talk about this in the squadron
Oh,
because
that's okay.
I don't know who people are listening.
That's true,
And
that's
if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else
yeah,
is
sure,
doing.
no problem.
Okay.
The first thing the detectives do is set up a compatible tone with the suspect. She has just stepped foot inside an interrogation room, and the detectives negate the negative implications of such an environment through a friendly disposition. Consultative meetings, such as seeking advice over an art theft, can take place anywhere, and the last place detectives would choose to spend more time in would be an interrogation room. The reason they give the suspect for meeting in such an unusual location is to not spread rumors or innuendo. Yet the real reason is that all firearms have to be checked in before entering the area, and they needed the suspect to give up her gun without alerting suspicion.
But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Do you know John Rutten?
Try and imagine for one moment that you savagely murdered a love rival in a jealous rage. Over 2 decades had passed since the act. Then all of a sudden, you're brought to an interrogation room and sat directly opposite 2 senior investigators who bring up the name of the man you committed first-degree homicide for.
John Bruton.
Whoa.
John Rutten?
Rutten.
The investigators already knew how to say John Rutten's name correctly. The mispronunciation was a simple strategy to see how the suspect would react.
Yep.
Setting aside the element of the murder, John Rutten was the second longest relationship in Stephanie's life, and a psychiatrist later stated that this pause was 4 times as long as it should have been. She was already being deceptive by acting as if she hadn't thought about that name for so long, giving reason for her prolonged reflection, when in reality, the name John Rutten was engraved in her memory, and even when slightly mispronounced, it would have most likely taken milliseconds for her to realize exactly who the detectives were referring to.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, let's see, went to UCLA in 1978 I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
She says she met him in the dorms, yet left out the fact that they had dated for 4 years and went on numerous holidays together. Even though she wasn't asked directly, a truthful subject would most often volunteer this information without having to be pressed for it.
Were you guys friends? Close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's regarding... It's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we... good friends. Lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah.
They're
a
good
relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
It's unfortunate that Stephanie...
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Here we go.
2 minutes in.
Now they're like easing in on the added info. Now we're talking about the wife. Real quick. The super chats. Smarty Marty 4.99. Been interrogated before. Shut up. Only one word. Just repeat. Lawyer. You know, it's like should be the #1 fucking rule when it comes to these things.
100%.
Akira,
the moment you step into an interrogation room, you should just say, "I want a lawyer." And that's it.
808 State. Akira 4.99 just got here. Thanks for being here, man. Smarty Marty again, another 4.99 super chat. Much appreciated. Yes, anytime you speak to police, have a lawyer, no matter how innocent you are.
Exactly.
Smarty Marty laying down the golden rule. AZ the Kid, 4.99. Hi Artie and all. God bless OPT. Aw. Right on, man. Fuck cancer.
Yes.
Stephanie's face wasn't captured at this moment because she would have no doubt been immediately struck by the psychological reaction known as fight or flight. Her brain would have just triggered the influx of a specific cocktail of hormones in order to prepare her to either stay and deal with the threat or try and run away to safety. Stephanie chooses to fight.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Did you?
I know that I didn't want to pause so briefly, but I now notice her hand, like how it slams on the table when she's talking.
Yep.
It just sounds very aggressive right there.
It does, yeah.
Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her. Jeez.
The words gosh, God, gee are exclamatory remarks used to express surprise or strong emotion. You will see them used continuously throughout this interrogation, which is the suspect trying to insinuate a vague memory due to a lack of contemplation on the subject matter. She's trying to emit the impression
Oh no, this guy's brilliant.
Yeah.
that she would have had no reason to give any further thought to John or anything related to John since they stopped seeing each other over 2 decades ago.
You know.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, Well, are you guys, is this something...
As we know, Stephanie is a cop and has been for 25 years. She will be wise to the fact that acting oblivious to the unusual development of the situation will be a glaring red flag in the eyes of the investigators. It's been shown time and again on this channel. Guilty suspects will often try and act naive to a blatant confrontation as a means to avoiding it altogether, whereas truthful subjects will address the confrontation and either refute it, or if it's subtle, want immediate clarification and transparency as to what was being insinuated.
I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art and how you guys are...
Here's
I mean...
Stephanie, here's the situation. It's basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate.
The detective now subtly avoids the question altogether, but instead offers a deceptively reassuring response to the suspect. He makes a very sharp switch from the investigative subject matter to the previous topic of workplace rumors. He brings her focus back to the false perception of them being on her side. Stephanie had just asked what was going on, and now he essentially replies with, "We are your friends. We're doing you a favor."
And we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting supplies.
Okay.
So we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff to start.
That's fine.
So we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in just a confidential place where where your business isn't out there for other people in your division to know about.
Whether it be shock or the total reluctance to accept the situation at hand, Stephanie warily accepts the reassuring response without further inquiry into her initial challenge. She instead falls back into her agenda of having a foggy memory with regard to the incriminating contents.
God, that's been
this
a million...
is so amazing from the detective. I mean, these two detectives, as I said, they
rehearsed this. Yeah, they prepared this. I mean, they planned so many different levels for this. It's amazing.
It's brilliant that they're like, oh, we just wanted to make sure that this wasn't office. This didn't become office politics or something. Like that's a brilliant move.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh wait. Oops. There we go.
Years ago, what year is it now? 2009? I mean, I graduated in 82. 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Real quick, Deacon, to answer your question, this is the very first interview that she's having with the detectives.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say.
Notice how she now goes on to over-explain things that don't require an explanation, and weren't even inquired about. It's a clear-cut indication of hyperarousal and a derivative of TMT, also known as terror management theory. The suspect will go off on unrelated...
What's that?
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, me either. I've never heard of that.
Related tangents as means for gaining momentary relief. Going into detail about trivial things affords her a brief escape from the terrifying reality of...
Oh, by the way, thumbnail.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Eventuating before her. This is a very common occurrence in interrogations where the suspect is facing serious charges, and psychiatrists believe it to be a subconscious coping mechanism.
I started school there in 78. I started UCLA in 1978. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I knew his parents, I knew his sister, his brother went to Northridge.
Yeah, that's way over explaining everything.
His sister spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before.
How long did you date John for? Well, on December 25th, 1982, we had dinner at his parents' house, and
yeah,
all right.
Exactly. That's 100%.
By the way, guys, if you want to join in the Discord, you can. I just ask that you put yourselves on mute because this is intended to be OPT and I for the evening.
You know, yeah, I don't.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband in, when did I meet Scott? Let's see.
Don't remember when you met your husband?
Because I met Scott when I was teaching DARE up in Oregon. But we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92. It was
Scott being your husband.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching DARE. Let's see, what year is this?
Well, I remember that.
I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you hadn't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor,
I still think the question is, when did you meet John?
Or I thought it was how long did y'all date?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And we're getting a lot
too much information about her husband, which she doesn't remember the date that they met.
This is pretty. I mean, yeah. Like, I feel like if all he was an ex, like you would say, I would say we dated about 2 or 3 years. I think 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jeez, that's just like going more and more and more. AZ the Kid, thank you for the not the red super chat, dude. Thank you so much, man. Please, everyone, donate to cancer research. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's about 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm. And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta. People I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's this all about? I mean.
Well, let me ask you.
The suspect challenges the detectives for the second time, and once again the question is avoided, but this time in a more confrontational manner, as the topic is maintained with no reassurance afforded. The detectives are ramping up the pressure in a very subtle yet highly effective manner.
What ended the relationship between you and John?
It was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated.
Weird how?
I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated, we did things. I played sports in college, he played basketball, his brother played basketball. It just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like, I went out with other guys, saw other guys, I went on lots of vacations,
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of, problems? Is it friendly, not
the fact
friendly?
that she doesn't realize she's being interrogated is amazing.
Friendly.
I know.
I know that we went to Hawaii at one point. Yeah, I mean,
Donovan, bear in mind, no, she's not under interrogation. It's not like she can ask for a lawyer at this point. What she can do is she could stop talking and say, I don't want to talk about you guys anymore, and leave. She's not under arrest. She's not not being detained. She can end the conversation right then and there.
Which is why they can use these statements against her, because this is not a custodial interrogation, which is what Miranda focuses on.
But bear in mind also, if the fact that she wasn't Mirandized, normally they wouldn't be able to use what she's saying in the court of law. But because they're using the hidden camera as surveillance footage and not an interrogation camera, that's how they were able to get around that loophole. Right?
No, Miranda actually does require you to be under custodial interrogation. If it's you can just leave whenever you want to, it becomes not necessarily under Miranda.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that, you know, for her, when they're talking, where she is right now, she could get up and leave and stop talking. I mean, because she's not under custodial detention. What I'm saying is that the reason that they are able to use these statements against her is because they got around the fact that they used the hidden they classified the hidden camera footage as surveillance and not
not interrogation camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why they're able to use this video, and which obviously otherwise it would be this detective statements versus hers. But when you have the video, it's her words.
Yeah.
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Oh boy.
Do you remember her name or anything, or? Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
The suspect was just asked 3 consecutive questions relating to the victim. She was supposedly in a reflective state during all 3 of the questions, yet her facial expression completely changed for the 3rd one. This is because she was pretending to be in a state of reflection for the first 2 questions, as she already knew the answers, whereas for the 3rd question, she actually was in a state of reflection and was genuinely searching her memory for the correct response.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
The 3rd question is about to be posed, and her focus is about to switch from pretending to be thinking to actually thinking.
Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. Man, I can't even remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, I did not go to their wedding. I couldn't even tell you what year he got married. I mean, it's been a million years ago. Again, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
You wouldn't need to be an expert in body language to recognize the unmitigated terror emanating from the suspect's face at this moment. She had just verbalized the victim's tragic demise for the first time in most likely over 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work.
How do you not realize at this point you're being interrogated?
I know. I know, right? Like, man. Give me 1 second. I need another beer.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh my god.
Yeah. Hi, stream. So yeah, stream or chat. Yeah, it's like, how do you not realize you're being interrogated at this point, right? Like, it's the most amazing thing that she's still talking about all this. Heyo, just keep your stream entertained.
Of course, I appreciate that.
But yeah, no, like, how do you not, at this point, like, they're literally asking about the person that you killed. How do you not figure out that they are actually investigating you?
I'm only going to speculate, and it is probably completely off. But the way I would speculate is that she is in such a defensive posture in terms of responding to the questions directly that she's not seeing the grander picture. Like, she's subconsciously not seeing the grander picture that she's actually under investigation for the murder. But instead, the majority of her brain power is trying to respond and deflect the individual questions that they're asking her. That's my speculation.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his...
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick,
bring up names he told me to bring up.
You know.
But being that you were kind of used to see John, you know, was it everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
8 separate witnesses testified that Stephanie had confronted Sherry at the hospital she worked at, while the two of them were reportedly in an intimate relationship with John. The confrontation was said to have been highly aggressive, and Stephanie had to be escorted off the premises by security. Reports stated that Stephanie was by far the more combative, and even made threats against Sherry's life.
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean... I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean,
oh my God,
I may have seen her.
Fucking flailing at this point, Jesus.
Yeah, the arms going around like the I don't know.
What's going on here?
Exactly. Like, what are you doing, ma'am? Seriously.
It is a part. You know, geez. How many years ago is that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
Where was his apartment?
Notice her passive disposition as she gives the following truthful response.
On Roscoe.
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and east or west of DeSoto. Either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
now notice how her disposition switches from passive to frantic as she once again pretends to have a vague memory.
I'm sure he did.
Did you know where he was living, or?
Somewhere in the valley.
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No? Never went out to, get together, dinners, anything of that nature?
No. Like I said, his sister used to come over. His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I had just scanned from. I take a lot of photos.
Coming across some pictures.
Like 10,000, and I just did a service where I scanned everything.
Wow.
After his wife died.
Thank you.
Did
I appreciate that.
I know, right?
Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, probably his parents, probably some other friends. I'm sure I talked to him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married?
No idea. I mean,
never went over to visit him, or
I don't think.
meet his
I don't
wife,
think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I did. I know he lived on Roscoe for a long, long time.
After John's wife died, you said you may have been talking to him. Did your relationship start up again?
I would say no. Again, can you give me a year? I mean, this is like 2009.
She died in 1986?
Yeah, I think it was 86.
1986.
Okay. Like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving. And I'm thinking that John met us there, meaning Greg and I.
As soon as she mentioned the scuba diving, I knew she was going to go off on a tangent with that.
Yeah, she keeps going off on these tangents. it's like she's trying to fill. It's like she's trying to fill information in to the point where they'll just be like, okay, well, that's all we need.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's what it is too. Like they feel like if she gives them enough filler, that they'll somehow be satisfied and pretend not to go any further.
Yeah.
After he got married or whatever.
Like as though she's trying to run out the clock or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was what year? 1986, you said?
I think he got married in around 85, 86, something like that. Were you seeing anyone seriously, or?
God, I couldn't say. Geez, I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, I dated a fireman. Randy may have dated a gal that Mike was dating, and then Randy broke up with that gal. I couldn't even tell you the gal's name, if I'm even thinking of the story right. And then I started dating Randy.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, not like I was a huge floozy or anything, but
no.
As far as you recall, after John's wife died, did you start a relationship again with John, or dating casually, or?
That's back to the question we asked you before.
Like I said, he met Greg and I in Hawaii.
And about Hawaii.
You know, what island did we go to? I think the Big Island in Kauai.
I mean, when you heard about John's wife being killed, I mean, what was your reaction? I mean, you thought you heard about it, what, through a friend or in a bulletin or
either
something?
A friend or a bulletin. I called the family. I called maybe some of his friends that I knew, and I mean, obviously it shocked you if I heard it at work, you know, which I may have. I faintly remember a bulletin going around, you know.
Do you know what the circumstances were regarding her death?
Geez, let me think back. Geez, I don't know if it was, you know, if it was a burglary or something. It's been so many years. I can faintly think that I may have saw a flyer.
Yeah.
May have had her picture
That's
on
what they
it.
focused on first.
You know,
Yeah.
That's why I say, if somebody had called me, I may not have known what her last name was. I may have. I mean, maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Do you remember her first name?
Shelley, Sherry, I don't know, something maybe, you know, like I said, it's been so many years, and
from all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her? Just
well, I said earlier, you know, I mean, I may have, and now I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what, is he dating you? He's bothering me, and so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that.
No.
One or two, maybe. It could have been three. I don't want to say I had 3 conversations with her.
No.
I thought in the earlier she tried to avoid saying that she didn't know her at all, or she barely knew her, and now she's saying there may have been up to 3 conversations that she had with her about John, in this lovers triangle.
Conversations, quote unquote.
Conversations, yeah,
including the one at the hospital where you got thrown out of the hospital.
And supposedly 8 witnesses at the scene.
Like at her work or at their house, or?
No, I'm thinking that he obviously must have told me where she worked.
At the work.
I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in LA, and I could have been, again, what year was that? Where was I working? 92 or 93. There was a big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? April of 92. I stopped teaching there.
KN, real quick. This murder was a cold case. The murder happened in what? What did you say? What was it? 80?
It's in the 80s.
It's in the mid 80s, and this is 2009. It's been a cold case, and it's been reopened.
Yeah, because originally they suspected 2 male robbers have done it, but they never never found him or whatnot, and the case went cold. And they came back and with the DNA discovered that a female was involved, which immediately validated the two suspects that they had. So they had to start over, and her name came up.
Alpha, that what OPT just said, the magic of DNA evidence led us to one female suspect who was a cop at the time and is now a detective with the LAPD.
Which she's a detective at this point. That makes this even worse because it's like at some point you have to realize they're digging for information about this murder, and it's like you don't or you do, and now you're trying to play off everything, like, you know.
Exactly.
I think I stopped teaching deer sometime in '92.
When you said, like, hey, you know, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you, I mean, was that civil? Was there, I mean,
no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. The conversation lasted a few minutes. I can't even remember. And what is it like, you know, we went out to lunch or anything.
Right.
Wait, hold on. I want to know what they asked her again. I missed that.
Yeah.
I think I stopped teaching deer sometime in '92.
When you said, like, hey, you know, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you, I mean, was that civil? Was there, I mean,
no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. The conversation lasted a few minutes. I can't even remember. And what is it like, you know, we went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no, like, arguments or fights
I
or
don't think
it didn't
so.
get heated or anything like
Not that I recall, no. I mean, I would think that would stand out, I would think. Now, again, that's not standing out in my mind. You know...
So you didn't have any problems with her then?
No.
You didn't have any issues with her?
No, I mean...
But let me ask you, it seems like you didn't have any issue. Now, did she have an issue with you as far as... Because now you're telling her, hey, you know, tell them to stop calling. Now, you know, she's like, hey, you know, you figure she'd be threatened by you.
You know, I don't know. I mean...
From what you remember as far as when you talked to her, maybe you didn't take it as serious, but maybe, you know, did she? Maybe she was bugged.
You mean, like, was she throwing things at me or something? Or,
well, no, just,
you know...
As far as you're trying to explain, like, hey, stop calling me, you know, stop playing games.
You know, I tell you, if the conversation... I couldn't even tell you how long the conversation... If you said, did it last a half an hour? Did it last 3 minutes? Did it last 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago.
So you would have gone, if it was en route to work, more than likely you would have gone to her work and had this discussion with her?
I mean, that's sounding familiar. I mean, that's, now that you guys are bringing this stuff up, that sounds familiar. But again, I mean, you know, what's this got to do with me dating him and, you know, her getting killed? I mean, I don't, you know.
Remember, she was originally brought in for, what, an art investigation?
Something like that, yeah. They brought her in for absolutely a different reason.
It hasn't clicked with her yet that they've been going full deep into her relationship with John and this woman's and his wife's death.
Yeah,
it still hasn't clicked for her yet.
Some detective.
or again, alternatively, it has clicked, and she thinks she's trying to be clever and talk and thinks she can talk her way out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was right. That fight or flight instinct comes in, and she's decided to like try to explain her way out of it, or she still just doesn't realize it. But I gotta think by now she does, and she's just trying to deflect at this point.
Right.
I don't have anything to do with it, and you got something that's somebody said, you know, whatever. I mean,
well, like we said, we just literally got this the other day, and you're going through it.
Yeah.
And you see
and you saw me say,
your
name.
It's
next door.
Right. And so, you know, I mean, obviously, it's like we recognize the name, and we know that, you know, you work next door to us, and so we're trying to get some background. We're trying to figure this out. I mean, this is from a long time ago.
Oh, I know. And
you know, and things have been kind of slow for us, and so, you know, Chief Beck has said, hey, you know, I want you guys working. I don't want you just sitting around reading the paper.
Yeah.
So he's kind of pushing some older cases out even to the guys that work active cases because, you know, and so we see this and we're just like, oh, well, you know, we want to talk to you about it, but of course, the only reason we is because we're getting into some pretty personal stuff
No,
in
I
your
appreciate
relationship.
it. You know, my husband's on the job,
Yeah,
and we've been
so
married
we don't want to take the risk.
time,
We don't want to
and-
take the risk. We're in one of those interview rooms,
No, I
and even when the door
appreciate it.
closed, someone's going to get
No.
supplies and see us on a monitor or hears or whatever.
No, I
and-
appreciate it. I mean, I
You know?
appreciate, like I said.
That's where people go when there's orals. You know, when they're doing orals,
Yeah.
guys will go in there and try and watch. And like, what are the answers to the questions?
I
You know?
didn't know that.
Yeah. So we
Oh
just want to
God.
the most
Appreciate
privacy
it.
and confidentiality we could.
No, I appreciate it. And like I
They
said, I mean,
reset
this goes way
everything right
back.
there.
And, I mean, it was very.
They're playing it like a damn fiddle.
Yeah, literally. Like, that's amazing. Like, they literally just, like, on cue almost is like, oh, let's calm her down by reminding her that we're only here because
We're all
didn't want you
buddies. We're all friends.
Yeah,
here.
we're all buddies. We just didn't want you to have to answer embarrassing questions in an interview room because, you know, people could hear that. That's why we're here in
Exactly.
interrogation.
In an interrogation room. Yeah.
sad. You know, obviously, I haven't, when we were in college, some of us would go down to his house in San Diego. I went down to his house with him. I made detective, I think, in
Yeah.
93.
Let me get
Work
back
history.
to as far as when you said that John was calling you to see you, and during that time you felt that he was either seeing her, was he engaged or married? Did you know?
Couldn't say.
You don't remember?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Would he ever?
Well, let's see. My husband.
But during that time that you were seeing John, was he acting kind of squirrely or kind of sneaking around when he'd hook up with you or anything like that, to make you think,
Because
hey,
he was already
Well, he probably
just
was.
like-
I mean,
Well, after he hooked up with Sherry, do you know where they were living?
no, you asked me that already.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, obviously they were living in Van Nuys division.
Yeah.
I may have known.
Mhm.
I mean, did he ever give me the address? Maybe. I don't remember. I mean, I don't know.
Because the only reason I'm asking you again is because as you've been talking, I know some stuff has come to you because you're like, oh, it seems like you're shaking. So.
I don't think I've ever gone there. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say, no, I've never gone there, and then you say, oh, I was at a party. Because I don't think so.
Okay, now, if there was any remaining doubt, now we know that she is aware of what's happening here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That was the giveaway. That whether there was any doubt before, we now know that she knows that they are investigating her at the very least. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got these friends. We have parties.
Because I know you went to talk to her at the hospital regarding the decision with John. To kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey, you know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would. And I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. He lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I mean, I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe.
Mm-hmm.
I may have met her there. I mean.
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, I mean, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, hey, pick or something,
Fair.
back
That's
then.
fair.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey, man, it's my man, you leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? Would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean...
Maybe that happened.
Gosh, it's been
I think
so
you'd
long
remember
ago.
getting thrown out of a hospital.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much, Kojak, for the $10 jump scare. Saying, here, kitty, kitty. Ass. Might as well go with the get the other ones.
Yeah, go ahead.
Smarty Marty, $4.99. She spent years not thinking about ever getting caught. She is way off guard and panicking. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the fact that it's been 20 plus years, she probably did have a much better plan if she was ever like approached like close to the murder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's been 20 years, she probably forgot everything that she was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a very, very good point, actually. She's caught so off guard by this that she thinks she can sit there and explain everything away. Which, again, as you said, at some point she has to have realized she's now under interrogation. You know, she's being interrogated about this.
Yep.
Stop talking.
I know.
You're a detective, for God's sake.
I know, yeah.
You know what they're doing.
The moment you self-realize what's going on, that's when you needed to shut the hell up.
Exactly.
And Kivy, Texas, for $20, hashtag fuck cancer, hashtag pickle gang for life. We love you, OPT. Thank you, Kivy.
Thank you.
I mean, that's not ringing a bell.
Mm-hmm. Because the times I've seen you around at our office,
I'm crazy.
You know, but you're always kind of like real. I mean, you seem kind of bubbly.
Oh, you know, people think I'm really hyper. But I can get upset. You know, and then I forget 5 seconds later. You know, how guys razz you. And
Is that right?
You know, I mean, I've done that in the office. You know, but it's like, and then I'm, you know, I mean, people
water
think,
under the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people think I'm crazy, and then they think I'm crazy at home, and I'm I'm a hyper
why
person
would you
at
admit
work.
this?
You know,
Why are you volunteering this?
You know, I enjoy the job. I've always.
Why would you admit that?
And then the guys that lived across from me, Jim Jaskell and.
You know, when I get mad, you know, I want to fuck shit up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, ha ha ha. Yeah. Why would you admit that? Why are you admitting this?
Again, it just goes to show these detectives are professionals for being able to keep like a straight face and not give anything away, because that's just amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kit 190 already looking at potential girlfriends. Hashtag the thirst is real. Hashtag pickle gang. Hashtag no. Fuck you.
No.
Roy Suckaboo, something like that.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are, because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem, like I said, if I spoke to her, I mean, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times, because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for, I think, quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now, where they, you know, it may have been back then, but, you know, maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have, you know, you know, I don't even know that I met any of their friends. I can't say that. I don't know that that's a true statement.
Well, that's what I'm reading, is that you guys had problems with each other and words are being exchanged, and it's all relating to John.
You know what? I just can't say.
Can't say.
No, that doesn't even ring a bell. I mean,
it seemed like you
Doesn't
would
ring a
recall
bell.
something if somebody's going off on you, right?
I would think. I mean, I would think.
From what you're telling me is when you guys met at the hospital, I mean, you guys talked, but it wasn't, from what you recall, confrontational
I don't think so.
from either side?
I mean, I'm trying to, you know, turn my memory back.
Oh my God.
And I'm trying. I can't even picture the, you know, the conversation. I mean, I can't even picture the conversation.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, at the hospital, it never got to the point where people were going, hey, you know, everybody go to your own corner.
I don't think so.
Nothing like
I
that.
don't think so.
I mean, I really don't. I mean, if you say people said that, That's not ringing a bell to me at all. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's not ringing a bell to me at all.
Was there ever a time when you and Sherry were talking and John had to maybe go, okay, you guys relax, you know, or anything like that?
I think so.
About, you know, ever going to her house and having a dispute like that?
No.
I'm just, if I met her ever at his apartment, maybe. I mean, maybe we could have met I could have met at her apartment. I'm thinking that the hospital thing, that sounds familiar, that I met her there. I just can't say that I've ever, again, was I there with other people? I don't know. I don't think I ever met her there or him there, meaning one or the other. I don't think so.
I guess basically what I'm asking is, you know, were you ever welcome to the house? Like, you know, hey.
Oh, come over?
Yeah, come on over. We're having a barbecue, you know, a dinner party, Christmas party, whatever.
You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
Have you ever been to the house of the lady you killed? In her
no,
house?
Like I said, because there were so many of us that I have 10,000 pictures, okay? I'm a picture nut.
Let me ask, when you were seeing John, would you, I take it he would pick you up in his car, you go in her, you know, your car, things of that nature, when you guys would go out?
Well, yeah, I mean...
Do you remember what he drove?
Well, I know at one time he drove either a 240 or 260Z.
Any other cars that stand out in your mind?
What the fuck is that expression?
Yeah. That's the fake. I'm thinking I don't know.
I don't know how long he drove that 240 or 260Z for. And the only reason I say that is because I think I may have a picture of it with him in it.
May have a picture of it.
What kind of car did you have back then?
Let's see. What year?
Or are you like one of those young cops that like, oh, I got a paycheck and bought a new car?
Oh, no. I've only had like a few cars in my whole life.
So what'd you have when you came on the job?
Okay, well, my first car was a 68 Chevelle.
Well, like I said, as we were looking at the case, and, you know, we had read the notes as far as from Sherry's friend saying you guys had problems or words, and they got heated. You know, and the reason we're asking you is they had mentioned that an incident at her work had occurred, and they've also told us that an incident at her house occurred.
Oh, yeah?
You know what?
And this is at her house during the period of time that they're married.
Ooh.
That's just not sounding familiar at all. I mean, you know what? That's just not sound. Again, if someone says that I was at her house and I had an incident with her, that just doesn't sound. You know, was John there? Did John say this happened? Because, and other people were there. I don't recall. I mean, it just doesn't sound, you know, familiar.
And this is an incident where you showed up. You weren't supposed to show up, and things got heated.
At his house?
Huh?
That just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, it's not sounding familiar. Not at all.
Now you're saying not familiar because it's just something you remember, or it's just.
You know what? I'd have to say I don't remember, because I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
We've gone from it didn't happen to I don't remember.
Something like that in your life?
Well, I would think, but
some sort of drama involving, you know, the other woman type of thing.
Did you ever fight with her?
You mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
Oh, shit!
No, I don't think so. I mean...
You'd remember that, right? That would be pretty...
Yeah, I would think so. I mean,
specific.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, obviously...
Did you shoot her 3 times?
It just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her, so now, I mean, getting the jump, the leap. Excuse me.
Oh, boy.
They're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her.
This is known in psychology as reductio ad absurdum, or appeal to extreme. It's a form of argument that attempts to disprove a statement by showing that it leads to an absurd or impractical conclusion.
I mean, come on. I mean,
that's a great stop.
I don't even know who these people are. I can't even say I met any of these people. I mean, it's insane.
would it be something you would remember? I mean, because I don't know if any other intense incidents in your life that have occurred, I mean, you'd recall those, right? I mean,
well,
like a use of force at work or a car crash, something you're involved in, you'd be like, yeah, I remember.
you would think I would remember. I mean, I would think if it was something that crazy.
Remember.
I mean, I can't say. You say, how many fights have you gotten into? In your life. I mean, a few at work.
Well, fights at work are kind of different because we've all had uses of force or whatever. But
well,
I mean,
haven't even had even a lot of those. I mean,
right, but if you're actually, I mean, I played. Like if Dan and I got mad at each other and we threw blows in the squad room, I mean, 20 years later, I would remember it. I mean,
I would think I would remember it, but
unique.
that's what I'm saying. That's not sounding familiar to me at all.
I'm looking at the notes, and these people are kind of, I mean, they're pointing the finger at you.
Well,
and
I mean, that's not ringing a bell to me. So, I don't know. It's I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah. So you, offhand, you don't recall ever going into her house and having words and physically,
No.
attacking her attacking you?
No.
Nothing like that?
No. I mean, that's,
You don't remember
no.
shooting her?
Nothing?
No. No. Not at all.
Okay. Well, on some of the, on this case, this occurred in '86, right? Detectives processed the scene, things of that nature. They did fingerprints and all that stuff. You know the standard stuff. I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have.
Well, not about that. I got 26 years on, going on 26.
19, so. But
26 years as on the force.
as they processed everything,
X amount as the
they did
detective.
the best they could.
Yep.
You don't know what's going on,
And
or you do know what's going on, and you think you can, talk your way out of this.
So she says 26 years on the force, and the murder happened in '86, and it's 2009. So she was only on the force for 3 years before the murder.
Right.
Wow.
Good at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with, with that.
Uh-oh.
Okay? So, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying, do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this?
There
you don't have to. I mean,
I'm just,
you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no, I know, but
I mean, you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well,
Tell her what we've been trying to say.
Yep.
You didn't have to say anything at this point. Fucking hell. Ah.
Leave whenever you want to, which means Miranda's not a thing. Jesus.
Only took you an hour and 5 minutes
to figure out that they're interrogating you. I love do I need a lawyer line? You probably needed one an hour and a half ago.
I'm trying to give you some background of, how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about, and I don't want to, get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No.
No, that's what we're telling you.
I'd probably get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that to her face.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
The thing is,
now
detectives did what they could at that time.
Now?
In the crime scene. Okay, and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. But now we're looking at everything else on the case, because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay.
It's a cold case,
now,
lady.
What we'd like to do is, obviously, about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that gets done on cases nowadays. If we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now
because
now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I mean,
now?
Well,
because I know how this stuff works. Okay, don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like
Don't worry.
there's
It's being recorded.
you know, you're selling these people saying I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to, you know, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, and now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate suspects.
I can't believe this.
So if we ask you to the point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe. Because I know this.
Well, that's where we're at too. I mean, because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's, you know, it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
That's great.
And
possible. Yeah,
we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together.
Already know.
And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why. That's just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
And it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job. And I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. So.
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I mean,
You do.
I just can't believe it.
KN, wasn't it mentioned that they got her DNA from a discarded cup?
Yeah.
Yes. That's how they confirmed her DNA at the scene. Now they're just simply asking her if she's willing to volunteer it.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter either way necessarily.
Doesn't, no, because they don't want her to know they already have her DNA.
Exactly.
They don't want her to know that she is like their main suspect now.
Precisely.
We understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean,
I'm shocked.
Come on.
Shocked that there's gambling in this establishment.
Well,
that's...
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I could record it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
That interview's
All right,
over.
Stephanie, take care.
All right.
I mean, that just completely sunk herself. Entirely.
This is absolutely crazy.
Have a seat, Stephanie.
She's back?
This is insane.
Okay.
She's back!
What the fuck?
Thought she left.
Give me 1 second.
I legitimately thought she left.
Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent.
Oh!
Anything you say.
Oh, there it is!
Oh! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Now we're Mirandizing her.
Ooh!
You are no longer free to leave, I guess.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Wow. I love how we both went nuts the moment he said that.
He didn't even have to finish his sentence.
Yep. You have the right to remain silent. Oh, you're done. That's it.
Be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questions. Do you
He's
understand?
outright Mirandizing her
You
now.
cannot afford an attorney. One will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
This
then.
is crazy.
Okay.
This is absolutely... I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
I'm in shock.
They handcuffed her at that point. Oh, I missed that. I missed
that.
Yeah, they actually handcuffed her.
Yeah, she was no longer free to leave. She was arrested.
This is crazy.
Wow.
This is
Look.
I'm like in shock.
Yeah,
I'm totally
I see
in
it.
shock.
I see it.
Boom.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Bracelets. Wow. Yeah, she stepped out of there. They're like, yep.
We are
Nope.
back on the
You're under
record in
arrest.
People versus Lazarus. Shortly before noon, the jury announced they have a verdict. We will take the verdict at this time.
People of the State of California versus Stephanie Eileen Lazarus. Case number BA 357423. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the information. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
Oh, shit!
John Rutten.
Oh, my God. It's the former lover. Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Victim impact statement.
Yeah, here we go.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak during this hearing. There are really no words that can describe the loss of Sherry and the whole of this experience, so it makes no sense to talk very long. It suffices to say that the Rasmussen family, my family, and Stephanie's family have been thrust into a bizarre world of disbelief and indescribable sadness. Sherry Rasmussen had a profound impact on so many people. And I was proud that she agreed to be my wife. It was impossible not to notice Sherry when she entered a room. To me, her physical presence was startling. I can clearly remember the first moment I laid eyes on her. Sherry Rasmussen was a physical presence, and my heart still races when I look at pictures of her. But Sherry was extraordinary, more for who she was than the way she looked. She was a hard worker, a consummate professional, a leader, a diplomat, forgiving, tough, and a kid at heart. Sherry's loss, the way she died, and the trial 25 years after her death has had a profound impact on many, many others. The effects are broad and span a generation, creating pain for those whose lives should have never been touched by this tragic event. Again, words are feeble tools for describing these impacts, but there are so many moments and so very many tears. And the fact that Sherry's death occurred because she met and married me brings me to my knees.
Stephanie Lazarus was sentenced to 27 years to life for the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. She is currently being held inside the maximum security unit of the Central California Women's Facility.
That was
Any other cars
amazing.
that stand out in your mind?
I love that look.
Yep.
That was the most amazing look of the whole
That's
thing.
the fucking... There. That.
Yep.
That is the face of a psychopath.
Agreed. Jeez.
I'm gonna let the chat just marinate in that for a few seconds.
I just can't, like, I can't believe that as a detective, she didn't realize before they Mirandized her, like, that she was being interrogated. And if she did realize it at some point, that she didn't just stop talking. Because she knows how to do these things.
Yeah.
It's literally part of her job.
I know.
How do you let that happen?
Watch this.
That was a good way to end that.
Oh my god.
That was absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like I said, I think you're right. You know, being that she's a detective, she can't have been ignorant as to what was going on. I think at some point, even before she, said it out loud, that she tried to get herself out of it. Like she thought that she could bluff her way out of it.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's just like everyone else. Yeah, this is why we say shut up and ask for a lawyer. You're never going to be able to talk your way out of a thing. You're just going to lie, and they already know. Like, they already knew about the incident in the hospital, clearly, because they asked her about it specifically.
Yeah.
And they clearly knew about that. They clearly knew that, her DNA was on just...
Yeah.
And how they got around Miranda in general was absolutely brilliant.
Ingenious.
Ingenious,
absolutely ingenious.
And they kept telling her, like, you're free to leave whatever the heck you want to.
Well, they didn't tell her that. We were
they
saying
did say that at one point.
They did, but by the time they did tell her that, it was already, she had already incriminated herself. Like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Seriously, really quick, before I forget, where did I leave it last? Kojak for $15. This is Kojak's wife. Why does my husband like you so much? Is there something I don't know about? Talk to your husband. He's the one who keeps on sending me giant gummy bears, beer, and food. I just accept it.
Right.
Everyone, thank you very much for the tip. Arian Rod. I doubt I pronounced that correctly. $10. She has crazy eyes. I think we definitely established that.
Yeah, 100%. She's got crazy eyes.
David Cadieux. $5. Cancer sucks. Miss you, Dad. Cancer does indeed fucking suck. I agree.
Yes, it does.
Kit 190, $5. I just met you and this is crazy, but I shot a chick 26 years ago, so call me crazy. Hashtag cat revenge. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I saw it.
Kit 190, another $2. What are the odds that he asked her to kill his girlfriend? I think that's a debate going on in the chat right now. As did John know? I mean, I don't think he. I
don't think he knew.
I mean, was he having an affair? I would say yeah, but I don't think he realized what Stephanie was capable of. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
Deacon for $10. So basically she was a side chick, and I'm sure he wasn't telling her. He also didn't see how cheating on his wife might be a problem with a sociopath. Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably not.
And Kale for the $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Kale. $50 tip. This never gets old. I guess you're referring to hashtag cat revenge. Yes, I'm sure you are. So that was pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, the details were pretty brutal, but the interrogation was fucking amazing to watch.
That was expertly done. Like, that was more than expertly done. That was amazingly well crafted.
Exactly. The detectives it was just the way they set it up, the way they prepared, and the way they managed to get it around
Miranda issue.
An evidentiary hearing. A motion to suppress, I should say. Is pretty awesome.
That is amazing detective work.
Fop, I did see you that, let's watch another one. I mean, I'm gonna end it. I'm not gonna watch another one. We're just gonna,
not tonight.
Not tonight. I have been talking to Nat, and I just got a hold of her recently. We might be watching another one, either tomorrow or Friday.
Ooh.
It's open as to what we're going to watch. Even though I already seen it, it was such an amazing watch. I might ask her if she wants to do Dahlia Dippolito, because there in that video there was far more information that I didn't know about, because that was a case I did know about, like the Dippolito case. But most of the information that I got was from the ABC News, like 2-parter, like investigative story. This channel, JCS, had a lot more stuff, a lot more background into Dahlia and her husband that I had no idea about, that makes it that much better.
Yeah,
so
this Jim Can't Swim channel is amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for pointing me out to this channel. This is a gold mine of stuff. But yeah, Dahlia Dippolito was that was a wild ride. Especially with her, like, goddamn. You want to know about somebody who has no mitigating factors for being evil, like greedy. That's her. Like,
jeez.
There's no like JCX makes the point. Like, there's no poor upbringing, no rough childhood. It was just cold-blooded greed that drove her to want to kill her newlywed husband.
Wow. Her newlywed husband? I need to watch this.
Point of fact, want to. It didn't happen.
Oh.
That's the kicker. She hired a hitman. Spoiler alert.
Oh, jeez.
Or, well, yeah, she tried to hire a hitman. And that it's an entire can of worms. But it's a pretty amazing thing. But all right.
Damn.
I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye, chat. Love y'all.
I will see you next time. Later.
Later, alls.